With Agent Zero, you can build literally anything, even if you know nothing about Python or programming. Unfortunately, a lot of people still aren't using any AI agents, and my goal with this video is to change that. I will show you how to set up and use Agent Zero, which is a brand new AI agent that is 100% autonomous. It can write code, use the terminals, fix its own errors, and even launch other AI agents, all by itself. And the best part is that you don't have to configure any tasks, agents, or crews. You simply tell it what to do and it will do it for you. So the first thing we have to do is go and download Conda. And this will let us use Python in an easy way. Click on the first link and we're actually going to download a smaller version called Miniconda. So as you can see on the top, there's Miniconda. Once you click on that, scroll down. So if you're on Windows, get this. If you're on Mac OS, so just click that. So once it finishes downloading, click on this icon and it will bring you to your downloads folder. Double click on the installer, which will bring up the installer window. So just click through this, accept the license, and this will install Conda on your machine. Once you do that, you can just open the terminal and type in conda -- version. And if it says a version, you've successfully installed Conda. If you don't know how to open a terminal, simply ask ChatGPT. How do I open the terminal on Windows or Mac OS? Again, if you get stuck at any point, just ask ChatGPT. Now that we have Conda, which will let us use Python, the second thing we need is VS Code. Click on the first link. It suggests Mac OS because it already knows I'm on Mac OS. It'll begin downloading. So save. If you can just sit down and push through the friction and install these two things, you're already ahead of 99% of people who only consume and watch content without taking action. So as you can see, it has finished downloading. Click on the folder, double click the installer. As you can see, we have this Visual Studio Code application. So just double click on that and you have a VS Code. So once you open it, it should look something like this. The next step is to open any folder, okay? So open an empty folder where you want Agent Zero to run. So once you've done that, you should see your folder on the left. The next step is to go to Agent Zero GitHub, right? So this is the GitHub repository. Click on code and copy this link, right? So there's a button. You might be like, okay, David, I don't know what to do with this. Well, let's just ask ChatGPT. The only skill you need to have is to be able to use the AI tools. If you can do that, there is no limits to what you can build. So, okay, we have clear instructions. Open terminal in VS Code. Okay, so let's go back to VS Code. Click on terminal at the top and new terminal. Okay, beautiful. In the terminal, type the following command. Git clone and then the link. Simply copy this entire command and paste it in here and hit enter. So as you can see right here, we see a new folder, Agent Zero. Open the clone repository. So copy this command, cd Agent Zero, boom, enter. And as you can see, let me do clear again. Right here, it says Agent Zero, which is the folder right here. Okay, so as you can see, this is the folder. We have everything we need here. And the beauty of Agent Zero is that it's completely open source. So you don't have to code any of it. Jan, the developer, has done that for you. Everyone knows you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you want to make money with AI agents, you need to surround yourself with people who already do so, which is exactly what you'll get in the new society. Plus, you can talk to me 30 times per month. That's right, we now do meetings every single day. And on Thursdays, we do a technical call hosted by the creator of Agent Zero himself. Now, to make it risk-free, we do offer a money-back guarantee. If you don't find the community valuable, I will personally send you the money back. So, if you want to make money with AI agents, click the first link below the video and join today. The next step is to go into our folder right here and find the example.env file. If you don't know what this means, don't worry, I'll show you step by step. So what we need to do is need to Control-C and Control-V. But basically, we need to make a copy of this and rename this to just .env. It has to be this exact name. Otherwise, it will not work. There are 2 API keys we need to get. OpenAI API key, and then the Perplexity API key. You actually don't need them because you can run it locally with something like Olama, and you don't even have to use Perplexity because DuckDuckGo has a free search API. But I'm going to show you how to use it with OpenAI and Perplexity because it makes Agent Zero much, much better. Okay, so let's get OpenAI API key, which is super simple. OpenAI API. This is the blog and this is the platform. So click on the platform. If you're not logged in, simply log in with the same account you have for ChatGPT. Click on Dashboard. Then click on API keys on the left and create a new secret key. You can name it something like subscribe. If you're watching this, please subscribe. Doesn't matter what you name it, basically create secret key and then copy it, okay? Let's go back to VS Code and paste it right here. No space, nothing, just paste it, Control V and Control S to save the file. Okay, now we need the Perplexity API key. So let's go back to our browser and go to Perplexity. So again, feel free to skip this step because Agent Zero works even without Perplexity API key. But if you're already paying for Perplexity Pro, then why not just do it? Because you get $5 worth of credits every single month. So inside of Perplexity, go to the left and click on Settings. Click on API in the top right. If you're already paying for Perplexity, which you should, by the way, it's the best AI tool. You just, go into the API and just scroll down, click on Generate, a new API key. So click on Copy, go back to VS Code and paste it and save the file, Control S. And by the way, if you just look at the other stuff, Anthropic, if you wanted to use Claude 3.5 Sonnet, you would obviously need an Anthropic API key. So now that we've set up the environment file with the API keys, the next step is to install the requirements. So again, click on Terminal on the top, New Terminal. We can type pip install -r and then requirements.txt. Just make sure to spell it properly and hit enter. This is going to go through this file, this txt file, and install everything we need to run Agent Zero. Now, in the meantime, while this is installing, we can go back to the browser and download one more thing, which is Docker Desktop. Originally, Agent Zero was not using Docker. To explain it simply, that was, very risky idea because, as I said, the agent can write its own code, execute code, use the terminal, download files, delete files. In other words, it can mess up your system. But with Docker, it runs in an individual container, right? Which is like a simple closed-off environment separate from your system. So if the agent does something that it shouldn't do, it doesn't mess up your computer. The simplest way to do this is basically just type Docker Desktop into Google, click on the first link, and download Docker Desktop for your operating system. So I am on Mac Apple Silicon, so I'm going to click that and download it. Now, once it finishes downloading, just go through the installation process like we did earlier. Hopefully you already know how to do that. So again, once you install it, just open Docker up and it should look something like this. And you have to sign in with an account, so just create an account. Again, it takes 30 seconds. Okay, so once you log in, you should see this and click on Proceed to Docker Desktop, which will redirect you to the app itself and log you in. Awesome. So as you can see, we have successfully logged in. Now I already have the Agent Zero container installed, so I'm going to delete it. That way I'm on the same place as you. When you open Docker Desktop for the first time, it will look like this. No containers and no images. Luckily, you don't have to worry about this because Agent Zero automatically will configure this for you. And all the requirements have downloaded, so that's amazing. Let's clear this up. So make sure Docker Desktop is open, and then all we have to do is type in Python main.py, and this is going to execute the main Python file. You can also use, this button right here to run it, but it's good to, make yourself more comfortable in the terminal. Anyways, let's run it, and this should successfully, fingers crossed, run Agent Zero. Oh, user message, beautiful. This is how you know Agent Zero is working. So you can say like hi, and the agent should respond. The user has greeted me. By the way, the nice thing is that you can see the thoughts, right? So the user has greeted me, I will respond appropriately. Hello, how can I assist you today? And then you can do W to wait or exit, E to exit or leave. And let's test it out on some super simple use case, like get the current time in Prague. You can do SF and Dubai. And now let's see if the agent can pull this off. Obviously, I'm going to show you much more practical use cases in a bit, but this is what I need to see. Initializing Docker container Agent Zero exe for safe code execution. The Agent Zero is pulling the Docker image from the web. So expect this to take some time, right? Maybe 5 minutes. Once you run it for a second, third time, and this doesn't take any time because you already have the Docker container. Awesome. So now inside of the images in Docker Desktop, I can see the Agent Zero exe. By the way, if you're not sure, like what is the image, I have a really solid video on Docker, which I'm going to link below as well. But actually, I'm going to use this video to do a simple, nice use case. So let me get the link. Let me get the link of this video and let's test out something practical with Agent Zero, right? Okay, so by the way, it says it is finished generating the comparison, right? And we can find it under time comparison chart P and G. So if we go into the work directory on the left, this is where we should find everything Agent Zero does, right? So if we click on this, we see time comparison. Obviously, this is not the most useful chart in the world, but it's just the first little test I did. Now I'm gonna go into much more practical use cases. So what we can do actually is we can continue in the same terminal, or you can create a new terminal by clicking the plus here. It's really up to you. So for organization purposes, I'm going to create a new terminal. Again, you can also go top and click on the new terminal. It doesn't matter. So let's go again, Python main.py. And now I'm going to give it a more complicated use case. And this is going to be taking a thumbnail from any YouTube URL, right? So now, since I copied the link to my Docker video, what I'm going to tell it to do is get the thumbnail from this YouTube video as a PNG file, and then I'm going to paste the link. Boom, and hit enter. And let's see if the Agent Zero can pull this off, right? This is a step more advanced than the previous use case of just getting the time in 3 different cities. Now it has to actually obtain thumbnail from a YouTube video and save it as a PNG file. So as you can see, it's running, and the good thing is that you can see the thought process, right? The code execution failed due to a missing request module. So this is what I mean. It can literally fix its own errors. I mean, you certainly cannot do that with Crew AI or any other thing. And on the left, okay, we can see that a new file has appeared into our work directory folder. So let's click on it. And, this is the thumbnail of the video. Pretty amazing if you ask me. The beauty of Agent Zero is that you can leave it running on your computer. Since it doesn't have access to your system files and stuff like that, it's running within the Docker container. It cannot do any harm. But some tasks take longer than, few seconds. So if you give it a complex task and let it run, usually it will figure it out. One thing I want to show you is how to choose the LLM. So on the left, if you remember, the main file is main.py. And as the name says, this is the main Python file. So let me hide the terminal. Here you can see a bunch of the most important stuff, namely the models, right? So right now, chat LLM is defined as get OpenAI chat with the model name GPT-4o Mini. If you don't know what this is basically a new model from OpenAI that is perfect for running agents because it is dirt cheap. So I would highly recommend you use the mini version. So here you can set the model name and the temperature. So if I wanted to be more creative, I would do 0.7. If I wanted to do a different model, I can change it here. Or let's say I don't want to use OpenAI, so I'm just gonna comment this line out and say I want to do Anthropic, right? Boom. I can do Anthropic and use Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Whatever line is not commented out, that's the LLM that's going to be used, right? So let me go back to what it was before. GPT-4o Mini. Temperature we can leave to 0. Let's give it something more advanced. So let me click on Control-J. It's a fast way to open the terminal again. By the way, one thing you noticed is that there is like a 60-second timeout right here. Now basically what this timeout does is it gives you time to respond. And if you don't respond, the agent just generates a message like, there's no more work for me. I will ask for another task. Okay, so let's step it up a notch. Let's give Agent Zero something even more impressive and complicated to do. So again, let me create a new terminal and run the file, Python main.py. And let's say we want to have it do a bunch of research and analyze apartment prices, right? So let's say scrape apartment rent prices for Austin. We can do LA, New York, we can do Prague, and let's do Dubai as well. Find the average price for a 2-bedroom apartment. Generate detailed graph. So this, if you were to do it manually, this could take you 30 minutes, an hour. Agent Zero, I just typed the prompt in 30 seconds and it will do the work on its own. As you can see, this is its thought process. The user has requested to scrape apartment rent prices for multiple cities and find the average. I will break this task into several subtasks, scraping data for each city, calculating the average prices, and generating a graph. First, I need to gather information on how to scrape rental prices from reliable sources. And then it uses knowledge tool, which in this case, is using Perplexity. It basically pings Perplexity API to get real response, real-time data from the web. And obviously, Perplexity has amazing API, so this just makes Agent Zero stronger. It's building on top of other great AI tools. The biggest downside of most agent models is that they never ask for more info. They always assume they know everything, right? So if you've built agents with Crew AI, Agent Swarm, doesn't matter. It always assumes it knows stuff when a lot of times it doesn't know stuff. Agent Zero does not have this problem because it's configured this way in the system prompt, right? When the agent is not sure, it is pushed, it is encouraged to use the Perplexity API to browse the web, to call the API and get the latest information. Because not everything is in the training data of the model itself, right? This prevents hallucination because LLMs, once it starts generating the incorrect tokens, it then justifies everything after that because all it does is predict the next token. Agent Zero, it uses Perplexity to find the information from the web instead of assuming it can do it from its own knowledge of the LLM. Okay, this is actually really good. So I found the agent was downloading some 2.7 gigabyte file. So it's like, what is this? So I just asked it, right? And it says it's downloading a data set from Kaggle. This is why you should still pay attention because you should act as the manager, as the director, as the CEO, pointing Agent Zero in the right direction, right? Don't just expect it to be able to do everything on the first try without any input from you. You should still keep an eye on the project. And basically, this is like a really smart child with, expert programming capabilities, but bad attention span and ADHD and all over the place. Keep an eye on what it's doing. So I said, what are you doing? It says blah, 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 downloading a dataset from Kaggle. So let me point in the right direction, right? Get the data by scraping it. No need to download large data sets, no need to use closed API. You can easily do this with open source libraries and packages. As you can see, I gave it more info, more feedback on what it should do. Now, actually, while it's doing this, let me show you something that might not be obvious. You can run multiple Agent Zeros at the same time. So if we open a different terminal, I can run it again. So I can do Python main.py and have it work on a different task or just the same task, right? So now the agent, like you can give it the same task 3 different times and see which one is the most successful, right? Because every time it's going to take probably a slightly different path, especially if you leave the temperature in the main.py file, something like, 0.1 or whatever, right? If you put this, the higher you put it, the more random it will be. And that means if you run the same prompt multiple times, you can, especially the more complicated a task becomes, the higher the chance that it will not get it on the first try. So it is a good idea to run it multiple times and have multiple Agent Zeros working at the same time, either on the same task or on a different task. So let me open up a new terminal. Let me launch it again, Python main.py. And we can simply start on the next task while it's still completing the previous task. And this is how Agent Zero massively unlocks productivity. It is an autonomous agent that works in the background while you're doing something else or while you're launching another team of agents. We can do something even more advanced, right? So while it's scraping apartment prices for multiple cities and generating a report, something that you could sell for like $300, $500 for companies that need it, there are any number of companies that need like detailed research reports or graphs, data visualization, anything like that, which Agent Zero can do very easily. Let's give it something even more complex, right? Let's say code a chess bot. By the way, this idea is by Decidus from the Discord server. Code a chess bot, okay? Use learning models as the AI, train them using TensorFlow, and create a simple UI for me to play against the bot. This alone is like a multi-hour project, maybe even multi-day project, depending on your skill set, right? Agent Zero can do this. It will take some time as well, obviously, but Agent Zero can do this on its own. As I said earlier, this is running GPT-4o mini model. So this isn't even the best model in the world. Like, again, if you wanted to do more advanced tasks and run into less errors, Claude 3.5 Sonnet would probably be the best model, but it would be significantly more expensive than GPT-4o Mini. But as you can see, right now it's installing TensorFlow and all the other requirements while it's still doing the previous task, right? Yeah, this is amazing. Like, you can see the agents working at the same time. It's kind of crazy. We really are living in the future, man. I mean, the fact that it can fix its own errors, that's already a huge step forward. And as you can see, it does like a mid-message cleanup, right? So this is, I guess, to keep the context window fresh. It summarizes everything that's happening, right? So access to truly renters pages was denied due to bot protection, limiting scraping options. AI is exploring alternative sources for rental price data. Okay, so let me help it out. Any button, you can press any button to interrupt Agent Zero at any point and give the human input. It's human in the loop, basically, right? So I can say, you are massively overcomplicating this project. All you need to do is check a few websites with apartment prices for those cities and compare them in a very visual graph. Sometimes you really need to point it in the right direction, especially the cheaper the model you use. Like, the less capable the model you're using, the more guidance you need to give it, right? So if you're running open source like models locally on your machine, which you can do with Ollama, and Agent Zero does support this, however, a lot of people significantly underestimate the decrease in intelligence, right? If you can run Llama 3.1 8 billion, sure, it's a really solid small model, but it's nowhere near GPT-4o Mini, Claude 3.5 Sonnet. It's nowhere near the top models, right? So obviously, Agent Zero becomes less useful if you want to run everything locally. That's why I recommend using OpenAI API and Perplexity. You don't need to do the work. Agent Zero is doing the work. So if you don't have like machine learning expertise, this would take you weeks to do by yourself. Agent Zero can do it max in a few hours, probably even less than that. Okay, I'm going to give it even more input, right? All you need to do is use knowledge tool separately for each city. Okay, so now it seems like it's doing some real progress because I pointed it in the right direction. It was massively overcomplicating this task for no reason. But again, that's what I mean. To get the best results with Agent Zero, it is still not perfect. Like, just to compare it, guys, Agent Zero is like 1 month old project. Crew AI is like 10 months old, right? There is no even comparison. It's still in beta. It's like version 0.3. So it's only going to get better. But the fact that it can already do so much is kind of crazy. If you want to get the best results, don't just, sit back, kick your legs up and expect it to start a new business and like do everything for you. You still need to oversee it and point it in the right direction. Okay, so how are we looking? I've successfully gathered the average rental prices. Seems like we're there. The visualization, okay, let me press W to wait. The visualization of these average prices has been created and saved as average rental prices.png. So let's click on it. Okay. The issue is that it's not in the same currency, right? So let's just tell it that. Make sure the prices are in the same currency and for the same time period. For example, in Dubai, it's common to list out the annual prices, while the other 3 cities clearly state the monthly cost. Right? So it will take this file and then generate a new graph with my input right here. Sometimes it doesn't save it as a file, so it's good to explicitly say that you're looking for a PNG file, PDF file, whatever format you're looking for, right? CSV, doesn't matter. But yeah, if it's just in the context window of the agent, it's not as useful as if it saves it as an actual file into the work directory folder. So here is all the stuff and this is the comparison. I'm not sure if it's correct, because Prague is definitely not that cheap. I mean, it's cheaper than New York, but I'm just gonna say what it done wrong. The currency conversion was not done correctly, and use code to perform all calculations. This is just a good prompt in general, even if you're using ChatGPT or Claude. Tell it to use code to perform calculations. Don't let the LLM do the math with tokens. Have it write Python code and have it perform the calculations actually in code. So let's see, there's a new file right here, corrected average prices, which is still incorrect. I don't know why. Oh, it's already it's dividing it by 12. The Prague prices are already monthly. No need to divide by 12. Honestly, this is probably my fault. I should have specified to look for monthly prices and specifically in USD, because some places like UAE list out annual prices and obviously in their own currency, so that confused the agent. Austin, New York is just crazy, right? Then Dubai is not as bad as New York, but still expensive. Austin, less expensive, and Prague, the least expensive out of these 4 cities. This makes a lot of sense, and creating this chart manually would take me at least like 40 minutes, maybe an hour. With Agent Zero, I was able to get there in 5 minutes? I mean, yeah, I had to give some feedback back and forth, but still, let's be realistic, guys. For some reason, the expectation for AI is just oh, it doesn't cure cancer. It's bad. It's all hype. No. If we can take an hour worth of work and do it in 5 minutes, already being 12 times more productive. Let's just comprehend what that is, what that means. Imagine 12 times multiplier on transportation. If cars suddenly could drive 12 times faster, that would be insane. That would be in the news every single day of the week. But suddenly AI, if you can code and build stuff 12 times faster, it's a bubble, guys. Yeah. It didn't do it all autonomously. I had to give it 3 or 4 interruptions. Who cares? 60-minute task in 5 minutes is insane productivity. And again, there are so many different tasks. Some guy told it to use NVIDIA's CUDA kernels to touch the GPU, to install Stable Diffusion and run its own AI image models hosted locally. That is an insane task. Building the chessbot, which again, Decidus on the Discord server has managed to do, that is an insane task for an AI agent to do itself using machine learning models with TensorFlow. Guys, obviously it's still not perfect. As I said, it's 1 month old, so it's only going to get better. But let's be honest, 12 times multiplier on your leverage. It's insane leverage, and it just makes you so much more productive and allows you to build stuff that you otherwise simply could not build, or you would have to get years of experience to build it, right? So personally, I'm a huge believer in Agent Zero, and I think that it's only going to get better. So you might as well just push through the friction, sit down for 20 minutes and set it up so that you have it on your computer and you can use it at any time. I definitely recommend creating a shell script. And again, use ChatGPT to do it. Use AI, use Perplexity, use Claude to help you figure this out. You don't have to remember any of the syntax. You don't have to remember the programming languages. You don't have to learn them. You simply need a little bit of ambition and be willing to push through things and not be stopped at the first roadblock as, oh, I don't know how to do it. Well, I guess AI agent doesn't work. Yeah, this doesn't work. Oh, I'm not a programmer. Yeah. Guys, please remove those limiting beliefs and just be willing to learn. Use these AI tools and you can do virtually anything. So if you have any specific things you want me to build with Agent Zero, comment below, and we might partner up with Jan again and make another video just on use cases in the future. And if you want to make money with AI agents, then make sure to join our community. We have already released the first module of the Make Money workshop, and people have already made money with it. Ryan made $1,500. Grant, I don't know how much he made, but he sold AI agent to some software company. So people are already making money, even though this is still work in progress, which to me is just amazing to see. So right now, it's probably the best time to join because you literally get a call with me every single day. So No matter if you get stuck or you need more support, more guidance, more coaching, every day you can talk to me. So if you are ambitious and if you have good work ethic and you want to make money with AI, this is the perfect time to join the community because literally you get 30 interactions with me every single month. Also, if in the first 60 days you don't see the value, I will personally send you the money back. That's right, we have a really amazing, really generous money back guarantee. That way, this is literally a risk-free investment for you. So if you want to make money with AI and if you want to build AI agents, make sure to join the community. It's the first link in the description. Thank you for watching.